Welcome to the Influential Personal Brand Podcast. This is the place where we help mission-driven messengers just like you learn how to build and monetize your personal brand. My name is Rory Vaden, and I'm the co-founder of Brand Builders Group, a Hall of Fame speaker, and New York Times bestselling author. And this show is to help experts learn how to become more wealthy and well-known. I know you're going to love it. Thanks for being here. Let's get started. I'm talking with a friend today, and I'm talking with a friend about a conversation that we would normally have unrecorded, off scripted. And we started having this conversation a couple months ago, and I was like, whoa. We need to record this as a podcast. This is so good. This will be so helpful. And so that's what we're doing today. So you're about to meet my buddy, Tyler Deveraux. He's a BBG client, a good friend of mine. I've really come to love and get to know this guy. I've spoken at his event, and he is an amazing speaker himself. And we're talking about putting on events. So Tyler is a keynote speaker. He's a best-selling author, and he has shared the stage with like many of the legends of the day: Ed Milet, Eric Thomas, Inky Johnson, Jim Quick, Jamie Kern-Lima, David Goggins. I had the opportunity to speak at his event recently, and it's incredible. It's amazing to see. So he's also a 9-figure founder of a business, the CEO of Nalo Capital and the Multifamily Mindset. So basically, they teach investing, and particularly in like multifamily units and things. And he owns a lot of properties in that, helps teach people how to do that business. But the reason I invited him on the show specifically was because of his business model. And what they do is the classic public seminar model. So he is filling his own rooms, selling his own tickets, and he's the one bringing in speakers and speaking on his own stages. And so he's in control of his own destiny. And that is something that we really love. And if you don't know this part of our story, this is exactly how AJ and I started. We weren't in investing, but we were doing sales training events. And we started by putting on our own public seminars. So when Tyler and I were talking about, how do you fill the rooms and how do you sell the tickets and how do you make money doing this? That's when I was like, oh yeah, we have to get this recorded, because this is such a great business model for people who want to be a speaker, but who don't want to be dependent on somebody else hiring them or waving the magic wand to say you're good enough to speak at an event, but just to take charge and control of your own life and put on your own events. So Tyler, welcome to the show, buddy.
What an intro, Rory. Appreciate it, man. Honored to be on the show, and grateful to be able to chat with you always.
Yeah, man. So tell us about the business model. Okay, so let's just talk public seminars for somebody who doesn't know what that model means. And I really think of, we learned that model from like Tom Hopkins and Brian Tracy, and they learned that model from people before them. But I think it was really real estate investors, like people teaching investing, who really perfected this model. And now lots of people use different variations of it. But like, what is the public seminar model? And just like kind of broad brush, high level, like how does it work? And what's the engine behind your business?
Yeah. So in my early 20s, I wanted to start an internet business. And so I went to look for places on how to start an internet business. And I ran into this company called Stores Online. And Stores Online is like the OG of the seminar business. Like they ran a tight, well-oiled organization. I learned so much from being with them. And so this is where I learned the model. And then it's something that I've repeated with pretty much any business that I've started, where I have learned. Like I knew the thing that I wanted to do. I learned how to do it, and then I have either worked with other seminar companies to teach it, or then eventually started my own seminar company. And so how this model works on our side, so we put these advertisements out for free events, and it's this is where I believe a lot of people miss the boat, because it is an upfront investment that I'm putting on a free event. So I'm, paying this money up front for these advertising campaigns. We go into an area and we host a free event, and that free event, like the standard model, is a 90-minute to, so that hour and a half, 2-hour presentation. And that hour and a half, 2-hour presentation is where I also believe it's free for people to come to a live event.
All right, so you're upside down right from the beginning because you're paying for ads, then you're paying to host the event, and then if you're giving them anything, gifts or food or anything, like you're immediately upside down on the front end.
Yes, and then we've tested all those things. We've tested gifts to get them there. We've tested food to help them stay there and be there. But honestly, Rory, the biggest thing that we've tested that actually works is just good value, like to actually teach them. Because the whole goal of that event, and it's no secret, we say this the very first slide that when they get there, is we want to sell them to our deep dive training, which is a 3-day training.
Okay.
And they know that. But here's the thing, most people will just spend that whole hour and a half, 2 hours just trying to sell them and providing no value. We do the opposite of that. We take them through a journey and actually teach them. And then, by teaching them and actually providing value, well, they want to learn more and they actually pay for, the 3-day training. Okay. So that's the first bit of it.
So the first part is, are these, so just to stick on this for a bit. So are these usually like nighttime events, weekends, middle of the day? Does it matter? Or, I mean, it
matters.
It does matter.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh yeah. We've tested tons of different times too. So our time that we do, we have tested 11, 12, 12:30, 1, 12:30 is the time frame. So number one, we do 2 of these free events each day and in, usually the same location, but 12:30, because we realize a lot of people are getting off lunch at 12. They need some time to travel to the event. And so we started at 12:30.
Okay.
And then it'll go an hour and a half. And then we do the second one at 6 p.m. So 12:30 and then 6 p.m.
Interesting. And that's just because it's like, okay, they're on their way home. They don't go home and then leave. It's like they hit it on the way home. Otherwise, if they go home, they're not coming back, right?
That's exactly, you nailed it. No, that's exactly it. Yep.
Okay.
So we tested this, so much of this stuff, like the different timing, and we're looking at show rate. Your big thing is you have your cost per registrant, right? How much it's costing for you to get a registrant to the event. But the bigger metric really is your cost per attendee. Like, because if they can, like a lot of people will register, like to give you this example, we have 80% of the people that register for this free event don't show up. So like if we can hit a 20% show rate, we're pretty happy. Anything below that and it starts to get way too expensive. So your cost per attendee needs to be dialed in as well.
Yeah. So this is, just a parallel for somebody listening. Okay. This is where webinars came from. Like what you're about to hear was just like webinars became the virtualized version of this model. But like the other industry that does this all the time and has for decades is financial advisors. They've done this forever. Like come to Ruth Chris for a free steak dinner. And that's how they hook you to come, and then they add value. And then the goal is, they're going to sell from there. This is exactly, well, it's kind of similar to what we did. So the way that we did it was we would cold call companies and we would try to come in and do a lunch meeting at their office or during their weekly training meeting, because we were selling sales training. So the idea, but the pitch was sort of similar, was let me come in and do a free 90-minute presentation. Let me show you how I can add value in 90 minutes, build trust, add value, build relationship, and then we would sell after that. So those were like private seminars. You're doing like public seminar here. So this has been around forever, and even webinars to this day, even the 3-day challenge model and stuff. I mean, we'll talk about that. They're just virtualized versions of this is where it started.
That's it. And listen, we do the webinar stuff too, because if somebody, it's a funnel, right? Like you teach funnel building for sure. And you have this funnel. So somebody who doesn't show up to the event, we call that a preview non-attendee, a PNA. And that preview non-attendee will then go into a funnel that's a webinar funnel. Because what we've realized is, and this took us a long time to realize this too, we were just trying to get them back to a live event. But some people that are not ready for a live event yet. And so those people are perfect to funnel into a webinar model that now we put them in a digital funnel until they're ready to come to live events.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's good. You're nurturing them. I mean, that's important, right? If 80% of the people don't show, the game is like right there. Is what do you do to keep in touch with the 80%?
That's it.
How are you getting these people to register? You mentioned that you're spending money on ads. So is this like billboards, radio ads? I mean, since it's local advertising, is it more like traditional media, or is it still like Facebook ads and stuff like that?
The bulk of our stuff comes from social media ads. So on YouTube, on Instagram, Facebook, all the social media channels we're on. But we test radio ads. We can get pretty good. It costs more to get an attendee from a radio ad, but those people have a higher buy rate. So you have to look at all these things, right? Maybe it costs more to get them from radio, but if a bigger percentage of them actually show and buy, well, then it's worth it. So we've done radio, we've done mailers. These people we still do mailers to this day. Like anybody that hits our list, doesn't show, or they even came to the event and don't buy, we'll hit them with a mailer next time we're in town.
Yeah,
But the bulk of our new leads come from social media marketing.
And when you say social media marketing, is that like you're putting content out, like just content, or it's like you're actually hitting them with like an ad, come to this free event, or a little bit of both?
A little bit of both, but it's usually our paid ads. Organic stuff, we'll get people come through on the organic side, or, they get in contact with me from, they watch some of my YouTube videos, but the bulk of our leads come from paid paid social media ads.
Yeah. Okay. And then, what's the goal? Like, what's the size here? Is this like 1,000 people? Is this like 10 people? What's the normal kind of like, okay, we're going to do
Great question.
90 minutes, you said, in the same day.
Same day. And we do, so let me tell you the times that we do them too. So we do Tuesday, the Tuesday we do them, like I said, 12:30 and 6, Wednesday, 12:30 and 6, Thursday, 12:30 and 6, Friday, 1 p.m. We only do one on Friday. Friday nights those aren't the best ones. And so we just don't do it. And then Saturday we do 2, and we do them in the mornings. We do one at 9, and then another one, or we do one at 9 and the other one at, 11:30 or 12. Yeah, now, but how many people we want registered? Our target for any week that we go into, we want at least 2,500 people registered for the event. And remember, not all of them
really for events, right? Because now all of a sudden you're not talking. So you're saying like you're hitting a city and you're doing 2, 4, 6, 7, 9. You're doing like 9 events in a week.
Yep.
So you're looking for 2,500 registrants across 9 events.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
That's a lot of stage
At
time.
least.
You also get good. That's how you get good on stage, is doing nine
So
presentations a week.
Think about that. Like there's no other place in the world that I know of that you can like do your presentation 9 times in a week and you just get dialed in. I could do my, presentation at 12:30 and see, man, this didn't quite hit, make a couple quick changes, hit it at 6, and real live see the results from those changes. It's incredible. The reps, you don't get those reps anywhere else.
Yeah. When I tell the story of how I spoke 304 times for free in my journey to the World Championship of Public Speaking, most of those speeches were when we were starting the public seminar business, because we would do 3 in a day sometimes, right? So you could knock out 8, 10, 15 15 would be way max, but like that's a bunch in a week. Some people, they only present that much in a year. And so you're going in and you're doing this. Okay, so you have 90 minutes. So let's zoom out again, high level here. So then it is free event, they come, you deliver value, and then they're usually going to buy a ticket to a 3-day training.
Yep.
And then at the end of the 3-day training, is there another offer upsell?
Yep. So our offer price for the 3-day training is $1,490, so $1,497.
Okay.
We've tested lots of these different models too, $997, $497, $1,497, $2,000, or $1,997, but $1,497 is, I believe, for us and what we do, that's the sweet spot. And our like the percent of sales that we want 20% of the attendees in the room to buy, like to go. So 20% show up rate, 20% sales rate, and those are good conversion rates to get a good 3-day event put together. And then, my inside sales team will follow up in between the events to get more people there that weren't quite ready to buy for whatever reason to get us a good, a good size 3-day event.
But then so just a quick rough math, you got 2,500 registered. If 20% show up, that means you got 500 people showing up across 9 of these. So that's roughly 45 or 50 people at each one.
Yep.
All right. And then out of that, if there's 500 people, then 20% of that would be 100. You're getting 100 people to buy the 3-day deal.
There we go. Yep.
Got it. Yeah, I love this because it is such a numbers game. I mean, that's one of the things about the seminar business and just about humanity in general. As you go, like an individual person is like very, nuanced and like personal, and you don't know. But like on the whole,
yeah,
it's like a pretty predictable numbers game. Every city, I remember going door to door when I was in college. They were just like, if you show 30 people a day the product, like you'll get to that buy out of it. It doesn't matter how bad you are. It's not the theory of averages. It's the law of averages. And
yes,
it's just a numbers game. So if you can get your costs dialed in, then it works. Okay. So you get 100.
Because think about that. Like if you think about like the number, you're exactly right. Like over a big span, I know that if I'm not getting a 20% show rate, well, then there's something within my we call it a post-reg drip campaign. So from the time they reg to the time they show the event, these emails, these texts, there's something that I need to fix there because there's some sort of disconnect there as to why they're not showing. So I know where to place my focus and my energy at the event. If I'm not getting a 20% sales rate at the event, there's something with the presentation, with one of my speakers, with something, that's where I place my energy and my focus. If I'm not, it's like when you know the trends and the numbers, it helps you drill down on where to place your energy to fix it. If not, and you're looking at an individual buyer, I mean, man, you can be just guessing forever.
Okay. And then so at the 3-day event, then you have basically like your main offer, your biggest, like your annual membership, right?
Yep. And so the 3-day event, this is another thing. I've been to so many of these, and I'll tell you my process as I go to these, and I'm talking since my early 20s, like 21, 22. I've seen so many of these 3-day presentations. I've worked at these 3-day presentations. But what I did, I always knew I wanted to be a speaker. So these are phenomenal speakers. These are successful people who are successful in the space, but they've also become very successful in speaking and understanding how to teach and translate that, to the masses. And so I would take notes on how they would deliver a message and things where I felt like they lost the crowd and things where they, that went well or didn't go well, or, a story that they told and the point that was to it and how that, helped overcome what I call a response block. So overcome an objection that a buyer may have. And it is literally like playing chess through that 3-day weekend. And I did that for a decade before I ever got a chance to speak at one of these events. So I took notes. I'm not joking you for 10 years until I got a chance to then get up on one of these stages. But I was weaponized, man, because I had been, dissecting so many of these events for so long. I knew what I was going to go in and do. It was good.
So what are some of the keys that you think what are some of the conversion steps of the 90 minutes? So you mentioned the show rate's really important, and you go, there's a number of things we got to get people to show up. What are some of the things that you go, these are in the free 90-minute version, these are the things that must happen in order for a 20% conversion to the 3-day?
Great question. So I look at it in different phases. This presentation has these different phases, okay? Section 1, I go by sections. Section 1 is, and I'll even drill it down into, because it really does follow. I'm pretty sure I learned this even at your mastermind event that I went through with you, that then made me think through my presentation and how the sections are at. But I think you have this something number of P's of marketing or something. I can't remember how many P's.
P's of marketing. Yeah, the 15 P's of marketing. Yep. Or
so the first one's promise.
Copywriting. That's the
Copywriting.
the 15 P's of copywriting is how you write sales pages, and it's all based on the psychological process somebody has to go through in order before they'll buy.
Yes. So it's so similar. So once I learned that at your mastermind, I remember going back after that and going through that 90-minute presentation and like segmenting it out and being like, this is the same thing. So the first part, first section, the promise, and what I'm really doing there is I want them to answer the questions. What do I want? Why do I want it? And then I want them to be thinking about how long they've been wanting that and why they haven't taken action on it. So if I can help them understand, hey man, or just identify for themselves, like, man, I have wanted this for a long time, and this is why it's important to me. This has been the thing that's been getting in my way, or even identify like how, even just getting in the framework of this is what I want and why I want it. And then if I know those things, the how to will start to reveal itself, right? So this is the promise section.
Yep.
The next section is the problem and the pain, right? So it's what they want, why they want it. Then it is, but this is the thing that's been getting in the way of that, right? So most people think in our events, as an example, that it's going to take too much money, or that they don't have enough money, that they don't want to be a landlord, that they don't know how to underwrite or analyze these deals, these things that they believe are the problems. And now they know what they want. I'm going to debunk the things that they think have been the issue and show them that they're not the issue. And then I'm going to go into the premise, which is who we are. This is who we are. This is who we've helped. This is what we've done. This is some students that we've helped. This is their testimonials, right? So it's showing them, hey, you want this. This is what you thought got in the way. Let me introduce you to this student who wanted the same thing. They thought that got in the way. They overcame it, and now they're here, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Following with me so far?
Yeah. I mean, those are you're tracking the 15 P's like identically: promise, problem, pain, premise, and then we talk about process, payoffs, and proof, right? Which is like what everything you're talking about is going. Here's who we are. This is how we do it. This is how we got into it, and this is how we do it. And then if you do it right, here's what'll happen. And then here's the proof of other people who have been able to do it.
Yes, that's exactly it. Yeah. And go ahead. We're gonna ask something.
No. So that's the 3 parts of the presentation.
The first part of it. There's more, but
okay. But that's like the high level outline of what you're going to do over the 90 minutes, basically, right?
So it's higher though. So then from there, I go into the offer, and I do the offer. We drop the offer right out the gates. Like within the first 30, 45 minutes, we're telling them what the offer is. And then my mindset is from there, because a lot of people will drop it at the end. My mentality is I want to drop it as quickly in the beginning as I possibly can. And then the rest of the presentation, I'm seeding back into like how this value exceeds the cost of the training, right? So, hey, this is the investment. This is the value. Okay, so that can go through, and I'm walking them through really the plan that we have. I have these, 7 steps essentially that they need to take on every deal. And so 7 steps on every single deal. And I'm walking them through finding the deal, sourcing the deal, underwriting the deal. And then the whole way through, I'm showing proof throughout, right? So, but this is, I believe, the key of what I do and how I do it. And I all up until I'm going through the 7 steps, which, I would say is the plan or the proof section. I am talking about what they want, certainly, but then it's like, hey, this is what I've done. These are other people that have done that. But then when I'm going through the steps, I'm telling them a story, and I'm telling them a me story with a them meaning, right? Like I'm telling this story, but I'm painting it in their light. Like, and even the verbiage that I use is when you do this deal, and when you source this deal, when you underwrite this deal, and when you do this thing, and then what happens is you get this payment, and this is how you would get paid. So they're seeing themselves go through this journey. It's super powerful, I believe, just from a mental construct for them to see like them going through the journey instead of just telling them all about my journey, right?
So. And
So,
then how do you actually collect the money? Like, so you do all these things. That's interesting. You tell them the offer right up front. Here's what it is. And so it's kind of like there's not a big surprise at the end. It's like, this is the thing. And then you're basically cost justifying and price anchoring and like doing all those things. And then at the end, do you just be like do you send them to a website? Do you like hand out a form for them to fill out? Like what do they go talk to somebody one-on-one?
Okay. So I am doing soft closes. I also believe this is a huge separator here. I'm doing soft closes the whole way through. So for example, I will, talk about, I'll talk about the cost of the investment. Then I'll go through a quick high level. These are the 7 steps I'm going to walk you through. And then I talk about right out the gates, finding the deals and running the numbers. And as an example, I show them a software we use to run the numbers that makes it super, super simple. And then I'll ask questions like, how many of you think that this software alone could be worth more than the cost of investment by raise of hands, right? They raise their hands. And I said, if your hand's up, then go to the back, sign up for the event and go and get that. But then I don't harp on it at all. I'll say something like, go to the back, sign up for the event and get that. And then I'll immediately move to the next section. Okay, this is the 3 ways you get paid. This is an acquisition fee. This is the way that you get paid for, upfront on the deal. How many of you would like to make this type? How many of you would like to be able to, have checks like this? I'll show some proof. Checks like this, coming in over the next year by raise of hands. Guys, if your hand is up, go to the back, sign up for the event, and don't just think about it, go and do it. And you'll see, I give them permission. It sounds funny to say that, but that's literally what it is. In the very beginning, I say, hey, man, you'll see that a number of you will stand up, go to the back, sign up for the event, and leave before I'm even done speaking. I said, that's okay. You don't have to wait for me to ring the bell at the end. When you know this is what you want to do, guys, take immediate action to go and do it. And we'll see you at the 3-day event. And so most of the people who have signed up, who sign up before I even end. Mm-hmm. And so I want you to just think of the momentum that creates to the event as people are standing up, and that's, as people stand up and go sign up, I'm congratulating them from the front. And I'm training my speakers to do the same thing. We even have, I'm giving too much here, but if somebody's watching this, they really want to do this. This is literally what I do. We have a whiteboard, like a little tiny whiteboard, and my team will take that whiteboard. The minute that person comes to the back, they're signing up on the form. We're not sending them to a website. There's a form at the back. And they are coming back to sign up. And as soon as that happens, the other team member will come around, see the person's name, take the whiteboard, write their name on it, go like this, the back of the room. So I'm the only one that can see it. Mm-hmm. And then I call them by name and say, hey, Ted, so excited to see you at the event. We'll see you there, right? Mm-hmm. And so that whole time I'm congratulating people as they're going. And it just creates a buying momentum.
Yeah, it's the same thing you do on like a webinar, right? When it's like if you see people pinging through a shopping cart, and you're reading out the emails and you're like, oh, Tyler, like, congratulations. We're so excited to have you. And, whatever, like, why'd you decide to do this? Like but it's very transparent. It sounds like it's very open from the beginning. And then it's just like, go to the back and sign up. Like, not a big deal. Just, hey, when you're ready, go to the back and sign up. And it's just, there's a form at the back table. They fill it out. Simple as that.
Yep. That's exactly it. The whole way through. That's why I like to go through the cost right at the very beginning. So that it is out the gates, like literally slide 1 or 2. We say, hey, how many of you, came here today hoping that we can teach you something about, real estate or making money in real estate or something along those lines? Raise your hands. And they'll say, they'll raise their hands and they'll say, okay, how many of you came here today thinking that I might try to sell you something? And I'll raise their hands and I'll say, I promise you that I will not disappoint you. We're definitely going to do that. We're going to sell you something this week. And they all laugh and it removes some tension. And then we tell them the price. And it's like, dude, there's no trying to hide something or drop, hey, this is what it usually is. But today and today only it's this. I don't do that game either. So,
yeah. And then is it sort of similar during the 3-day situation? It's like you let them know right up front, like in day 1 somewhere, hey, this is...
Yep.
It's sort of just the same thing over again, but just
yeah. And we actually will. Most people already know, because most people, if they're there, they've looked up things and they know that there's other offers. And so, we'll even tell them that at the first meeting, because people will always ask. It's almost inevitable that somebody in the crowd will raise their hand at the first meeting and ask, are you going to try to sell me something at that second event? And we go, absolutely. Yeah, we have trainings that cost anywhere from $5,000 to $40,000. So yeah, we want to, our thing is this, we want to give you anything and everything that you need and can get access to help you with your business. So, Yes, absolutely. Your job is to determine what you need and get access to the things that you need. Our job isn't to try to bamboozle you and pull the wool underneath your eyes and sell you something. Our job is to show you things that are of value, and it's your job to determine as a business owner if you want those things. So
That's good. So make sure I heard that right. So you're just saying basically like our job is to give you access to anything and everything you would need to do this business. Your job is to figure out which of those things you actually need to support you.
yeah, yes, that's exactly it.
That's a great mindset, right? Like there's nothing slimy or scammy about it. And it's like, well, if I can tell you what to do and you can go figure it all out on your own, then go do it on your own. But if I tell you what to do and you realize you need help with this part or that part, great. You work with us. Yeah, that's really super transparent. So you don't like wait till the end of the second day to make the offer or anything at the 3-day event. You just let them know kind of right up front, same thing. And then it's like, go to the back and sign up when you're ready. Go to the back and sign up when you're ready.
That's it. Yeah. When they walk in, there's literally a brochure on their seats to talk about mentorship. And once again, most people don't drop this on the 3-day event. Most people don't drop it until, like you said, sometime on end of day 2. But I swear on my life, it's my 3rd slide of my 3-day event. So my 3rd slide of day 1. So we're talking, we're 15 minutes, 20 minutes in, no longer than that. And I will bring it up. Hey, there's, you get access to the trainings, courses, classes offered above and beyond what's taught here. Yes, those things cost money. You want to know what those things are? I say, $39,997. And sometimes you'll get a gasp. But listen, when I'm saying it, I am like, I literally breathe in. Okay, write this down. 39,997, as monotone as possible. And then I'll say, okay, write it down once again, $39,997. I'm not going to drop that at the end of the day. I'm not going to drop that at the end of the weekend. That's the cost of investment. Always. That's what it is. So for those of you who just want to go and do your first deal, though, and then I go straight past it. And then I seed it in the entire way through. But then on day 2 at lunch, before they go to lunch, I go through like really what that would look like, what their mentorship journey would look like. And then, so that they can have time to make a sound decision. Because I don't like an emotional decision where somebody has to make that at the end in this, quick environment. I want them to have ample time, like the entire weekend, to be like, is this actually something that I want to do? And some people don't want that because they're nervous that they'll talk themselves out of it. I believe the more value that you provide and the more that you can help them see, well, what they can create and do, the right ones are going to say yes, and the wrong ones, or the ones that aren't a fit, whoa. And I would much rather them determine that then than me put so much time and effort into them afterwards, and then have that, have to have refunds or cancellations or whatever comes from that.
Yeah. I mean, I think what's so powerful is you're not hiding anything. Right?
No.
Like you're not hiding anything. You're not tricking anybody. You're not trying to sneak something out. It's just like, it's right out there in the open. And it's like, if you think this will help you, then great, go for it. We call that the pressure-free promise, which is the language that we actually teach. So one of our courses is called Pressure-Free Persuasion. And we have language called the pressure-free promise, where we say, hey, I'm going to give you a really good look at this. And if you like it, great. I'll show you how to go ahead and sign up and get started. If you don't like it, totally fine. Like no big deal. Our job isn't to talk you into anything you don't want or need. I just want to show you what it is. And for some of you, it'll be a fit. For some of you, it's not. It's totally okay. And that, like, clearing the air of just like letting it be their decision, I think I've always felt is like really powerful and transparent and trustworthy, because you don't have to be slimy and sneaky and shady to sell people stuff. It's like you're not selling them anything. You're showing it to them, and the ones who want it will buy it if you allow it to just be available for sale. Like, we all go to Amazon every day and buy stuff without anybody selling it to us. We just have to know it exists.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Can I give you an example of this, of your organization, how you guys did such an amazing job with this? Is I got a phone call, and they were like, listen, we noticed that you haven't been logging in to watch like the digital trainings and those kind of things. But we've been with you in person. Like, we've been with you in person before. And like, you are so present and like I think that you do better in like a live, personal, intensive setting, like all in for that many days. And I'm like, I do. That's definitely more how I learn. Like, I want to get it done and build it and go. And they're like, okay, well, we have this thing. And then they just told me about it. They just told me, and immediately I literally hung up the phone. It's more money to do that, but it doesn't matter. The value for me personally was well worth it, man. And so I literally hung up the phone, paid, a good chunk of money to y'all. And I hung up the phone grateful, just grateful, like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited that this solution was there. Your team crushed it at that. So
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
That's such a good testimonial, not just for us as a company, but for anybody to go, just because something's more expensive isn't like you somehow took advantage of somebody. Like, people are genuinely grateful to go, I will pay more money to get the thing I really need, and I'll be happier about that than paying less money for the thing that isn't quite what I need.
Yes, that's exactly it.
Yeah,
that's exactly it.
That's really good. Yeah, that's awesome. And that's what this is all about, right? It's just going, how can we serve people and help them succeed? So,
well, let me tell you something.
Yeah, go for it. Tell me.
Well, I was just going to say, one thing that I didn't think through is that I thought so much, man, through the messaging and that first presentation. And you have to, because if you're going to make any money in this business and survive, you have to have a good close ready at your first event and a good close ready at your 3-day event. You have to. But I will tell you where the real money and value is actually after that. And so people would ask me all the time, they'd be like, okay, hey, and so now I just literally bring this up at the event. Right after I go through the offer, I'll say, hey, a lot of people will ask me, what are you going to try to sell me after this? After I've done this big thing now, then what are you going to try to sell me? And I will say, I want to sell you as much as I can possibly sell you. That's what I want to do. Anybody who tells you otherwise is the person that you should be. Anybody that's like, once you have this, that's all you need. Like, dude, that's the person that you need to be aware of. That's the person you need to be skeptical of. I want to sell you anything that I can possibly sell you. The only reason you should ever buy anything, though, is because you see the value from it. That's it. But one mistake that I made is I didn't think through that, what the next thing that they would need after they left the 3-day. Like, obviously, I mean, not left 3-day. That was very much thought out on the mentorship side. But once they were done with that first year of mentorship, what was that next thing that they would need? I didn't think through that process, which means I would bring these students to this point of like they're closing their first deal, and then they need this next thing. I didn't have it, so I had to go refer that to other people who did have it. So my I guess call to anybody that wants to do this is, and I'm going to tell you why I didn't do it, because I didn't want to sell them more things. It was a limiting belief I had, because I thought, man, I don't want to just continue to bombard them with sales all the time. I want to provide value. They need things. Like, they need things at different stages of the journey. And it was a limiting belief that I had to overcome. And I'm grateful that I did. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, that's the irony of it is I mean, this is our entire strategy at Brand Builders Group is just going, what's the next thing we need to create to help our customers succeed faster? Like, that's
great question.
That's our whole strategy, is just going, okay, what's the next thing we need to create to help our customers succeed faster? And a lot of times we'll include it right in our program. Like, we're sort of notorious for delaying price increases, from really like when we should. But what ends up happening is we'll create all these things, and then it's like, man, we have really up-leveled this, and then it's almost like then we'll upgrade the price sometimes. We won't do it retroactively on the people that were there, but it's like, oh, now we can certainly charge a higher price because we've added all this stuff. We never increased the price, and we tend to grandfather people in if they've been with us. But that, to your point, like, so one of the things that we said in Wealthy and Well Known. By the way, did you get your galley copy of our new book?
I got it. Right? Yep.
Yes. So one of the new flagship mantras in there is that the best form of marketing in the world is a changed life. And it's going, all right, how can I help my people succeed? How can I help them succeed faster? How can I make this easier? How can I do more of the work for them? And it's like, I joke sometimes at BBG, I say, Our job will be done when you sign up as a customer for BBG and checks just start showing up in your mailbox from your customers, because we will have created so many things that basically like, help people. And there's a long, doesn't matter what you're selling, what industry, there's so much more that people need, and it costs time and money to create those things. And so that's what people pay money for, is to save them time. So that's what, as the creators, we're doing, is going, how can we solve those problems for people? What do they need next? And every new level of success opens up a new level of problems.
In fact, yes. That's exactly it. And the more that we can recognize that and understand that, and like my job, I believe my job now is to stay a few steps ahead of everyone. Like, meaning I'm supposed to figure these things out. And as I figure it out, then I pass it down, right? Figure it out. How did I do it? Okay, this is how I did it. And I pass it down. And you just continue to build and grow. It's the same thing that you do, bro. It's the same thing.
Yeah, that's exactly the idea, man. Because and that's why we're so keen and strong on like, serve a smaller audience in a deeper way. Like, not a smaller audience, serve a more specific audience in a deeper way. Because the way to be able to charge more is to like do more and more and more of the thing for them. And that's really hard to do with 15 different audiences. But if you have one very specific customer, you're like, I can do all this. And we're getting to that point with books right now, because it's like, we can help you create the ideation, we can help you outline it, we can create the frameworks, we can do the design, we can help you write it. Now we have a publishing company, we can publish the book, we can print it, we can manufacture it, we can distribute it, we can teach you how to sell it, we can build all the funnels for it, and then we can like process all the books, all the bulk sales to make them count, in the best way, and go, is this end-to-end thing for an author. So, and then
massively valuable.
So I love that.
Massively valuable. Yeah.
I love that's what you're doing. Anything else?
I'm trying to do the A to Z like you do there, because it is it's a continual process of like, what is that really, the whole upsell piece of it, or not even upsell, but just like the next thing that they need is, dude, it's really like, it consumes my thoughts, because I didn't do that before. And so it was a learning lesson. And I realized that, dude, I left people hanging, I felt like, at that point. And it's like, I don't want to do that. I want to make sure that they have what they need. And if they can get it in one spot, that's also valuable. The more areas that I have to go to get something, the harder and harder it gets. One more thing that I want to say, because you said the biggest testimonial is a changed life, or something like that, right?
Yeah. The best form of marketing is a changed life.
Okay. So this is one thing that I do that I also believe is a separator. Is at my events, that all these other events that I had been to, they were trained salespeople that came to the event to sell, and they're very good at sales. The people who help at my events are their students, they're past students who went through and done the thing. And they might not have this sales background. They might not have this, know how to, exactly how to, position the set, but you know what? Their life has changed, and that energy is palpable, and the gratitude that they have, and that's just felt throughout the room. And so it's one thing that my partners, when we first started, were very apprehensive about, but it's one thing I was super bullish about, because I was like, no, listen, like and I know this because this is what I did with Dave Lindahl. When I talked with Dave Lindahl, my life had changed from what he taught me. And I was like, dude, nobody's going to sell more than I'm going to sell, because I'm so passionate and so grateful about it. It's like, if we can get these people that we've already helped to do this thing in the room, listen, that energy is beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. So with that's one of the other flagship lines, is we say, if you do your job right, your customer force will become your sales force. And we mean that literally. And that's like, you did that, right? You were someone's customer. You've done that for us. I mean, you've helped us sell, people at BBG, and like, that's how you got it right. When someone is going, it's almost like, you don't have to pay me. I'll go tell people about you, because I believe in the value of what you're doing, right?
100%.
They don't do that if they feel sold. They don't feel that if you overpromise and underdeliver. They don't do that for you if you snuck something in on them, and you go. It's really short-sighted to just try to trick someone into buying something once, Because like, even if you did do that, like you still lost, because the big sale is the second,
100%.
third, fourth, fifth sale. And you never get those sales if you underserve on the first one.
That's it. Yes.
Yeah. So I love this, brother. Well, thanks so much. I mean, this is so transparent,
Yeah.
Tyler, and helpful. And,
Yeah.
I just want people to see like this model applies. It's proven for years, and it's just going,
Yep.
you start with free, you add value, you build trust, and then you solve their next problem. Then you deliver on that, you add value, and then you see if you can solve another problem, and then another problem. And then it's just like, you're not upselling, you're upserving. You're just
That's exactly it.
serving.
I'll say one more thing as we wrap, which is it might be daunting for someone to look at it and think, man, how do I create all those pieces of the puzzle? But what you just said is how you do it. Listen, start with providing free value. See what people find valuable in the free setting. Then, dude, instead of going straight to a live, try some things, test some things out on some webinars, but do a bunch of them. And then once you understand, hey, this thing is working, and then you can move that to a live model, but then you'll also have the webinar model there, and both of those things go hand in hand. So start with something that, is feasible for you, but the free portion of it, the more you can give away for free and understand what people actually want, man, then you can build so much from that on the back end of it. So.
Yeah, totally. Well, this has been so great, Tyler. Is there anywhere that you want people to go if they do want to like learn about you and follow your journey?
Yeah, hit me up on Instagram. Instagram's my best place I'm very active on Instagram. I do all my, inbox. And so hit me up on Instagram, Tyler_Deveraux, DEVERAUX. But would love to connect. Would love to know that you found some value here. And if you have any questions about the event space, I love this stuff. Like, I love this stuff. More than willing to answer questions and help any way I can.
That's so great, buddy. Well, thank you so much. And we're
Thanks,
so
Rory.
grateful for you, buddy. And we wish you all the best.